Hi, I am Pastor Justin Schoolcraft.
And I'm Jaime Kernigan.
I am our small group pastor here at Resurrection. And Jaime and I are going to talk to you all about building rapport in your small group. So whenever I talk to people about small groups, I like to use this scenario of maybe this has happened to you where you sign up for a group and you're really excited, maybe nervous, but you're excited to be in a small group. And then you show up the first time and you look around and you're like, who are these people that I'm sitting with? And maybe the people in that group are nothing like you imagined, or maybe even the room or the environment, it's nothing like you imagine. And you start to get a little worried when that happens. Why does that happen? Why do when we get there, we start to feel like, oh no, this isn't anything like I thought it would be?
I think a lot of that plays through kind of some of our basic core needs as humans, to feel seen and heard, and we're afraid that those needs aren't going to be met by these people that we don't know, essentially strangers, and by that environment. And I think what happens then is it's all based on fear, right? Mm-hmm. Fear of that, those needs not being met, fear of the unknown, fear of what to expect, and sometimes that leads our actions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you can see the appeal. We all have these needs that we need met, and you can see the appeal of wanting to be in a group of people just like you imagined, or just like you, because there's some familiarity there, and there's some confidence that, oh, these people can meet my needs. But I think the tricky thing with small group ministries, it almost never happens that way, right? We get into an environment where we're around new people that we didn't know, or it's not what we expected. And I think what we see in group ministry is people can give up on groups easily. They can give up on groups way too soon and miss out on this gift, this blessing of getting to know people who aren't like them. And I think that groups that I have seen, some of the most successful groups, are ones where nobody's anything alike, right? Nobody is alike in that group, but they didn't give up on it. They kept working and working at it. So how do we invest in a group? What are things that we can do to build rapport in a group that might not be what we expected?
And I think one of the things I would say is I encourage all of our small group participants to go 6 times, right? You have already that initial commitment to show up 6 times no matter what. You just push through the discomfort, and you go, and you make this plan to go and this commitment to go. And then the other piece I would say is you really have to lean into vulnerability, which, I mean, Brene Brown would tell you herself she doesn't like being vulnerable, and it's necessary to build connection. So if you're vulnerable, then that allows someone else to feel seen and heard, and then it encourages them to be vulnerable. And then you have a group of people who are breaking down some of those walls, being open to this connection, and then it just grows from there.
Absolutely. And that's difficult work to do in that environment, but that's why it's so important not to give up, to just keep going and trying. And the more you're vulnerable and see other people, the more they'll do the same for you. And I think it is so clear, as we've seen, as groups that have really thrived are ones that didn't give up too early. And now they've got this wonderful group dynamic in this wonderful environment. And we wish the same for you. And so if you are feeling nervous, especially if you go to a small group you've signed up for and you go one time and you're like, what have I gotten myself into? Give it a shot. We're gonna encourage you to try it out 6 times, and we're gonna trust that the Spirit is gonna be at work in the midst of you building rapport for that group. So that's what we hope for you, and we're excited to see how you can find a fit in the group that you've signed up for, and we're here for you along the way.